The bottom line is this. According to my information that I've been given anonymously from someone that is connected to the information, the timeline has been moved up. Now, this is what I've been told. I have been told that all branches of military leadership have been briefed for imminent war with China. Now, just recently, and this is not the first time it happens, this happens on a regular basis, our military performs what is known as war games and different things and simulations that they go through. Operation Pacific Rim was completed sometime in June, last month at the time of this recording, basically exercises to simulate a war with enemies in the Pacific area, but mainly China, of course, is the most powerful entity in the Pacific arena. This year, it was on a heightened sense of alert because of the conflict between China and Taiwan and what we have said to protect Taiwan. Now, my anonymous tip, as I said, from a place of knowledge of facts, has said the following. But I've been told that on or around the United States will begin moving military assets to the Pacific Island regions that surround the entire area of China and many of the Pacific Islands. It will be one of the, if not the largest movement of military assets that I, in my generation at least, has ever seen. My anonymous informant has also stated that these movements are not temporary. Maybe all of them are not temporary, and most of them are going to be permanent. Permanent where? Permanent on Pacific Islands in the Pacific region. A strategic moving of assets to a region. When I asked this person, quote, bottom line, are we being told to prepare for war with China? They answered, quote, barring a miracle, and God can intervene and do anything, based on our sources and based on what we're being told, it is 100% that we are preparing for a war with China. War between the United States and China and both nations' allies. I further asked him, when are you being told that this will happen? They answered, quote, everything our superiors are telling us, this will happen in 2024. They continued. They are preparing, quote, they are preparing our assets for this even as we speak. Now, this person has also told me that China currently, and this is as alarming as the prospects of preparing for war with China, this is also just as alarming, is not long ago on this show, and I don't have the clip to show you, on our show we told you just a few weeks ago that leaked reports were saying that China was preparing to have military bases on Cuba. And as you know, Cuba is only 70 miles from the Keys of Florida. So Cuba, of course, the famous Cuban Missile Crisis, here we are again. So in that report and in that news article, we were told that they were going to build bases there. Well, I have been told that the bases are already there. And I have been told that they have missiles there already. I've also been told that they have, it is reported, or at least leaked to them or believed by the military, they have been told that China has already identified the top 50 targets, cities in the United States, and either have the missiles locked on them or have the coordinates and preparing at any moment to lock on those cities. And on a personal note, I was very, very stunned to know that one of the top 10 and another one in the top 20 of those 50 were in my state where I live. What I've been told is that a full-scale movement of military assets will already begun to the Pacific Rim. As you can see, we've already moved them into North Korea region, which is in the Pacific area. And now we have them docking at Guantanamo Bay, And of course, they're not going to comment on that, but it's probably to let them know we know what you've got on Cuba, but it may also be refueling as they are moving. I don't know. This informant began to continue to tell me, and I'm almost through here, but listen, this is the most important part. They believed that the systems of the computers and so forth has been hacked to some extent by China. They basically believe that they know what we are doing and when we're going to do it. Now, with all that being said, that's scary enough, but our military numbers are way down. Our military's going woke. All this other stuff is just this fluff of trying to bring fluff into our military. So our military numbers are way down. Our armed forces now, the percentage of our armed forces is at 0.7%. 0.7% of the population of America. Now, normal is at least 1% or a little bit more. Maybe don't seem like a lot, but when you're talking about hundreds of millions of people, 0.7% to 1% is a significant difference. Well, you may say, well, if we go to war, they're going to call up the draft. They're going to start drafting military-age young men. Well, military officials believe in their assessment, get this now, this is the world we live in, that only 10% of draft-age men would even meet the minimum qualification status to serve in the military, whether it be fitness and so forth, would even be able to serve. So 10%, only 10% of all draft-age men would be able to serve in the war. While we have gone weak because we've gone woke, China mandates that all young men serve and train for war. China has been preparing and stockpiling weapons and all kinds of resources for decades. One particular article that I read said that they have stored enough coal to heat the homes of the Chinese people for 6 years if they were completely shut off by the whole world. Even our government is admitting that it may be a war, and I say may because I believe in our military, but it may be a war that we can't win. They're not going to fire first. But if they have hacked our system, it would be nothing for them to cause our assets to go into our technology, cause us, without our ability, to fire a missile or do something provocative against them to give them a reason to retaliate. I have been told that many of the military commanders on every level are beginning to tell their soldiers and prepare their soldiers with words like this, quote, "Prepare yourself, for many of you will lose people in this room. People in this room will not be here much longer. Many of you will lose some of your fellow military brothers and sisters. Begin to prepare yourself to lose people." This is what we have been distracted from. This is why we have been inundated with news items about, who's having a concert tour, or how much the tickets cost, or just something about some movie star, or all this crazy, insane things. Just take a moment and watch your morning news that you start your day with, or watch the evening news and watch how they just give you all kinds of fluff stuff, or maybe everybody jumps on one mantra and everybody takes the narrative and runs with this stupid story that don't matter a hill of beans, what my mama used to say. Why? Because they're taking their marching orders saying, distract the people, keep them happy, keep them occupied, because we don't need them to panic. We don't need them to know what's really going on. Here's what's going on. The world, it's not a simulation. It's not a video game. It's not a movie. The world is getting ready for World War III. Because if you have Ukraine and Russia, now we're taking troops to Europe. Now we're moving assets, military assets, one of the largest in our history, to the Pacific area, the region of China and North Korea. We're moving assets there. We're moving assets to Europe. Well, what's there in the Pacific and what's in Europe? Right next to the Pacific is China and Taiwan, North Korea. Right next to Europe is Ukraine. So why? Why are we doing that? We're getting ready for something. We know something's coming. What about our homeland? We have an open border where people are pouring into that border. Most of them are military-age men with no wife and no children crossing our border. And a large, large percentage of them are Chinese. And then 70 miles south of the Florida Keys, military bases already exist. Missile bases already exist. And they've already tapped 50 top targets that they can hit while we're fighting over there thinking we'll just keep it away from our homeland. They're ready to bring it to us. Then you think about the economy. Then you think about how many companies in America are solely or majority owned by the Chinese government. Your eyes begin to open, and you begin to see the big picture. The Chinese Communist government, not the Chinese people, but the Chinese Communist government is one of the most evil, demonic organizations, governments that has ever existed in the history of humanity. They have a 100-year plan to dominate the world. They do not care about their people. I'm not talking about the people don't care about their brothers and sisters. I'm talking about the high-ups of the communists. They do not care if their people die for the sake of winning and causing communism to take over the world. Communism is not dead. It did not die when the Berlin Wall came down. It just sort of went dormant and adjusted how it was going to take over the world. Thank you for watching this clip from The Big Picture. If you'd like to watch the full show, click here. If you'd like to watch more content just like this, breaking news and more, click here. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel by clicking here. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Thank you for hitting that like button. And we'll see you next time on The Big Picture.